Hey folks, Papa Boris here, playing some more Hades. After the first run, we got a key, which we used to unlock the bow. And we also got a trinket, the Lucky Tooth, which is kind of like a death defiance, except it makes you pop back with 50 health instead of half of your total health. That can be better or worse, depending on what your total health is. Let's talk about the bow. So your basic attack is a charge up, and you shoot an arrow. If you fire at just the right time, it does a bit of extra damage. That's called a power shot. I will not be caring or paying attention to that at all. Can't do it, won't do it. This is for braver, nobler, better spirits than I. I just cannot do power shots. Your special is a volley of arrows, which is nice because it's instant and it shoots a bunch, but of course you can see they don't do very much damage. If you're close to somebody, you can hit them with a lot, or in this case, all of them, so you can do a bunch of damage. The bow is a weapon that I like. It is a little bit contingent on finding the right boons, but it's a fun weapon, and I think it's a very popular weapon from at least what I've seen of people talking about the game. It's often a weapon that people who are struggling with the game with other weapons can use to win. Okay, so here's our first time meeting Zeus. I guess this is also scripted. And I like Zeus's cast. It makes it like a chain lightning thing that goes around enemies, and it does pretty decent damage. However, right now we only have one cast. Eventually we can upgrade that to 3, but with only one, I'm going to grab this. So what this does is it essentially adds flat damage to your special. So I'll shoot at this loud. You'll notice that it did 10 damage for the special and then 30 damage for the lightning bolt. So it essentially quadruples the damage of each bolt. And the bolt effect is also a chain lightning effect, so it can bounce among enemies, which is very good. If you're shooting it into a cluster of enemies, it can add a non-trivial amount of damage. Remember, too, that if you're close to an enemy and you hit them with your special, then you might hit them with multiple arrows. So now each of those arrows does 40 damage instead of 10, which is a really big difference. So that's one of the examples, actually, of the bow's strength being boon dependent. You know, if you get that lightning upgrade on your special, it makes a really big difference. You'll notice I'm not even like doing my main shot. With the charge up time, it doesn't really do that much more, or it doesn't do enough damage more than the special to justify the charge up time. Okay, so here we have a little bit of an anemic selection. The Drunken Strike for your attack inflicting hangover is not the best with the attack of the bow because the bow does shoot sort of slowly. This is fine. I only have one cast and it can be a little bit hard to hit things with it. And then this, well, it is a fairly minor amount of damage resistance, and because my total amount of health is pretty small, I would need to have a very small amount of health in order to be benefiting from this. So we'll take this just to show what it is. Since I'm mostly just using my bow special, I don't mind just tossing out one of those every now and then. I mean, 100 damage is a lot of damage. Now, I haven't mentioned this yet, but I am playing with a controller, and there are pros and cons to playing Hades with the controller and with mouse. Actually, the first time I ever played through this game, I did use a keyboard and mouse, and it was fine. The thing is that, oh, there we go, took 8 damage, that there's a lot of different buttons that you need to press, and I feel like with video games, the more different buttons that you have to press, well, I should say this, dexterity games, obviously if you're playing like a turn-based game, it doesn't matter how many buttons you press, but if you're playing a dexterity-based video game, the more buttons, god darn it, the more buttons that you have to press constantly, the more valuable it is to use a controller. And in this game, there's a lot. You got your attack, you got your special, you got your cast, you got your dash. Eventually, there's also going to be a call, which is like a special ultimate god power. And, is that it? Oh, yeah, so one weapon has a reload. There's a bunch of different buttons that you press pretty constantly. So it is a little bit fatiguing on the computer to do WASD for movement and then like 4 other buttons. But with the computer, you can aim more easily with aiming things. Like you can just, here, I'll just take my mouse out. Like you can just right click and choose where the festival lob will be lobbed. Now the game has like an aimer helping feature when you use a controller. I'm going to actually buy this health because I think I might need it. So that when you generally shoot something that requires aiming, the game will automatically aim towards the nearest enemy. Like if I press attack, okay, there was nothing there. But if I press attack and there's an enemy, oh geez, that I can attack, it will automatically, oh my god, it'll automatically aim towards that enemy. Clearly I did not pick a good time to start talking about features and trying to demonstrate them, because there's a bunch of armored witches shooting projectiles at me. Most projectiles will be canceled by, you can generally count on your special and your attack to cancel projectiles. Like I'm shooting my arrows into it and it's just making the projectiles break. So for the palm, I chose to upgrade this special, the bolt damage, because it's a flat damage increase on something that I shoot pretty quickly and a lot. All right, we have a mini boss here. Okay, this is kind of a weird one. So what it does is it spawns these little skulls, and then it shoots out a beam in a bunch of different directions, not exclusively to connect with the skulls, but it seems like that's where most of the beams are going. So the skulls in this one don't actually damage you. I am gonna grab the festival fog. Okay, unfortunately it auto-aimed at one of the skulls instead of at the boss. That's the kind of thing that wouldn't have been an issue if I was playing with a mouse. So this festival fog effect is worth noting. It doesn't lodge in enemies the way that your cast normally does. It just sits there for a while, and then when it expires, you can run over it and pick it up. Okay, so here we're gonna get this Divine Dash. It's epic rarity, which is not actually significant for that boon, because the main thing about it is that it deflects while dashing, which is very strong. Though, of course, in that case, I just stood there and waited for a gigantic Hulk to come at me for a really huge chunk of my damage. In my first run, I ended up getting some Centaur Hearts, so I actually had more total HP. Here, we are just rocking our starting 50, which is troublesome. See, we're just gonna toss. See, like that right there, that auto-aimed it at the nearest witch. Wow, this witch juking me like crazy. Okay, so we have another one of these shops. Can I buy some healing? I can, and I will. And I'm also gonna buy darkness. Darkness is just super useful in the short term and in the long run. It takes a long time, many tens of runs before you run out of uses for darkness. So if, you know, it seems like it's not gonna affect my run very much, I will buy a darkness. I mean, if you think about it here, like I got 27 coins. Am I really gonna get enough to buy something substantial at a shop like this one? I would not have bought anything with 27 coins. Now, what I'm gonna do is I don't really value these coins. I don't think I'm gonna like get another shop or something and spend those coins at. So I'm just gonna go to the shop and buy nothing, simply to not have to face an encounter. So yep, food for healing or a boon would have been great, but I did not get coins or enough coins, so I cannot afford these delicacies. Okay, I think I do fire fast enough that I stun lock them, so as long as I keep mashing the special button, he'll never actually run at me. Which makes the fact that I lost like half my health to these guys all the more embarrassing. All you had to do, Boris, was point at them and push the button. Now that one, remember, when an enemy has armor, they are not staggered by your attacks. So just keep your distance. Those brutes have a very slow wind up, and they're melee, but you know, I still get hit by them plenty. Don't take anything for granted in this game. You can't, by the way, I should mention, you can still aim. Like, you can still press and hold the button and then move your joystick around to aim where something lands. All right, I think we're just gonna upgrade the special more. This looks like a big increase, 160, but I only have one cast. It's slow. It can be very hard to hit targets that move around a lot, such as the boss. And then it sits there on the ground for a while and needs to be picked up later. Whereas this is 8 extra damage for every bolt every single time I shoot a special. All right, we have a little story room here. Each of the first 3 acts in this game has a story room that can spawn. We got Sisyphus here. And he's really cool. Not only does he have an awesome personality, but he gives you a pretty good benefit. You can either choose some healing, some darkness, or some coins. I pretty much always take the darkness, just because in the long run, if you choose to always take darkness, that will, you know, not insignificantly increase how quickly you unlock upgrades in the mirror. You might say, well, but Boris, the healing, I mean, you could get 21 extra hit points. That might mean the difference between killing or not killing the boss. And that's true. I don't mind dying, though. 66 darkness is a hefty amount of darkness. So I just want to make sure I get that whenever I can. Okay, we got a lot of skulls. My bow here with the lightning bolt is pretty good against these skulls. I don't know how much health they have. There's a chance that just the basic 10 damage from the special is enough to kill them. But with the bolts possibly having a chain effect, that just makes it all the more effective. Okay, I am going to grab this. There's a chance it's free because we're getting pretty advanced. Yep, and I didn't have enough money at the shop to buy anything. So this is 25 healing and 25 extra total health. Definitely the right choice. Okay, so I have a little bit less health fighting this boss than I did the first time. But now that I have the bow, if I can just pay attention to dodging. So there's that lift. That means she's doing a melee. When she kind of rears back, that means she's going to do a charge. She's also pointing in the direction that she will charge. When possible, I think I am going to try to get a little greedy and get close to her so that I can hit her with a bunch of these bolts. It's 10 base damage plus 50 per bolt because I think I upgraded it twice. I'll try to hit her with that palm. That was an extra 100. Happy about it. Okay, this... You can get into like a rhythm of dash to dodge and then shoot to hurt to make the boss fight go a little faster. And of course, doing more damage to the boss, I mean, it's not just like a laziness thing of like, oh, I just want this to end sooner. There's also the element that the longer the fight goes, the more damage that you're going to take, especially if, like me, you are bad at video games. Dexterity video games, I should clarify. So yeah, she rears up, try to get away from there. I failed to do this. Dodge, hit, dodge, hit. It is much easier to do like a dodge and then hit thing with her when she's doing the ground level. Oh, hang on. So this, right now I'm trying to deflect those back at her, but be very careful because you can take out of control damage when she does that rapid projectile shooting. If you're just like wandering around next to her, like say you have a sword and you're trying to hit her and she starts doing that and you don't realize it, you could just take an ass ton of damage. All right, well, I didn't actually need my Death Defiance, either of them, which is great news. We get our Titan Blood for the first time. Remember, you get 1 Titan Blood each time you kill Meg for the first time with a particular weapon. God, that came out clunky. The first time you kill Meg with each different weapon, you get Titan Blood. So if I were to go kill her with the sword, I would get another Titan Blood. If, however, I go back and kill her with the bow, which I've already done, then I will get Darkness, which is actually still a really great reward. So it's kind of cool. The game rewards you for killing a boss with the same weapon and also for killing a boss with different weapons. I really need healing, so I will pay half of my gold so that enemies have a 15% chance to drop healing items. I don't think I'm going to sell any of my things. I could sell this because I don't actually value it. The issue is that it's only 40 coins, and so I'm just not going to bother. You might think, well, Boris, only 40 coins. You only have 25, so isn't 40 kind of a lot? That's true. It's a lot proportionally relative to what I currently have. However, it's still just not a lot in absolute terms. All right, we're in Asphodel. This is, where enemies have more health. They also have tougher attacks. The fights might be longer. Also, there's magma all around. I remember the first time I got here, which, remember, it took me my first time playing a lot of tries. I think, I don't remember, 9 or maybe in the teens. I can't remember. A lot of tries to kill Meg. And then I got here and I was like, no, there's no way I'm going to ever be able to beat this game. I mean, how am I going to not walk on the fire? At one point, Zagreus has a line about being fire resistant. And that's true. You can kind of like dash on the fire and dash out without taking damage. All right, these guys, what they do is they like drop a bomb on themselves, which does not hurt them. It hurts you. And also, when they die, they drop another one. So it's important to dash away from them. Just get in that habit of dashing away as soon as you kill them. All right, there's some smoke here. I was standing in some fire. I got hit by a bomb. There's my Death Defiance. Now, this is my Death Defiance from the mirror. So you can see I came back with half of my health. Looks like it rounded up. Thanks, game. So I still have my Death Defiance from Skelly. It's not impossible that I actually kill this boss. I found it easier to kill this boss than to kill Meg my first time playing. For some people, that is not their experience. It just kind of depends, I guess, on, you know, play style. But the bow is a pretty good weapon. Where did that guy come from? I'm gonna deflect that at him. Oh, I didn't actually hit him. The bow is a pretty good weapon, I think, for the first boss. Notice that the bombs change graphically when you deflect them, and it says deflected. So there's two different indicators that you are safe from that bomb. That's the thing, is when you deflect, it can no longer hurt you. It like switches from being a thing that hurts you to being a thing that hurts enemies. All right, these guys, they kind of, well, it's not really doing anything right now, but they sort of charge at you a lot. It doesn't look like much, but they have a lot of HP, and if you're not careful, they can just really just come at you repeatedly and wreck you. Okay, so I can make my attack also do a little bit of chain lightning. So jolted means that when the enemy attacks, it takes damage. And this is like one of those things that, for whatever reason, for me, it just doesn't seem as good as I think it's going to be, because it takes a while. The enemies in this game are slow attacking. They spend a lot of time moving around and then doing an attack, which it doesn't really, you don't realize it because the game is so difficult. But if you stop and pay attention, enemies do actually kind of just spend a lot of time not attacking. The game is somehow difficult despite this, and you feel like you're under constant pressure. So I'm going to do this. I think this is just going to happen more often. 20 damage is not a significant amount of damage, but if we get more Zeus boons, then we might be able to get other riders. Like, there's Jolted, for example, but I prefer, like, your lightning bolt effects have a chance to attack twice. That's the kind of thing. Okay, that might be the only other thing that I can think of that would just help from doing bolts of lightning here and there. Okay, I don't deflect with my special, but it does destroy their projectiles, and they were all in the path of damage, so I could do my favorite thing in this game, which is to stand in one place and push a button. By the way, you might notice we had witches in the first act, but these witches shoot out projectiles in a fan, so they are more dangerous. And they also have more hit points. All right, so we got some... Oh, hey, there's food. Yeah, I got the 15% chance of enemies dropping food. You know, sometimes you get a lot of food, and sometimes you get very little. But I will take any amount of food. Healing is very, very precious. It's a weird thing. It's like it's very precious until it's not. There does come a point where, like, you have enough talents from the mirror that you're actually fine to take some damage and not care about it. Okay, I'm gonna get this. It's expensive, but I basically just don't care about anything except killing this boss. I don't even really want to kill the Act 3 boss on this run, because in Act 3, enemies just have a lot more health, and it's just a slog until you get some better upgrades from the mirror, at least in my opinion. These guys, they shield their allies, so you want to kill them as soon as you can. Just deflecting these bombs and trying to kill the guys that make everybody have shields. Then I'll focus on you. So you can see with the bow, it is taking a while. It's not quick. And eventually in this game, you can, you know, have enough damage that you actually kill things quite quickly, and it's very... Oh god, I took 12 damage for absolutely no reason. And it is very satisfying. But we're not here yet, and that's okay. Because with the bow, if you get a good boon, like that boon that makes my special do, in this case, it's up to 50 extra damage, then you can methodically and slowly make your way through it. Like, if I was trying to get through this with my basic special, that would be torture. Oh my god, I took 12 damage for no reason. You know what actually happened is I thought that was the last wave, and so I just stood there, because once you kill the last enemy, any sort of damaging effects that are out there don't hurt you anymore, with the exception of magma. Magma always hurts you, so you can actually, if you want, kill yourself after finishing one of these stages by stepping into some magma. But so I thought that the trap that he drops it after dying wouldn't matter, because that would be the end, and I was incorrect, and that is why I'm bad at this game. Okay, this should be the end, though. Alright, what have you got for me, Lord Uncle Zeus? Okay, well, again, we can have them be jolted, so now it's just like, because it's epic, it's 100-some damage instead of 60, but I would still rather just have a 30% chance for them to strike twice. It's actually a big deal, because my Thunder Flourish on my special, the bolt deals 50. So a 30% chance to do twice is like a 30% chance at an extra 50 damage. If you are interested in math, 30% of 50 is 15. So it's basically making my expected damage 65 instead of 50. Which is, it's a good boon. Now you might say, well, but Jolted does an extra 100 damage. Yes, but I have to hit the enemy and I have to wait for it to attack. And the 15% or the 30% of a strike twice chance, the expected 15 extra damage, that's on every single bolt, every single time I push this button. Every bolt, every time I push the button. Whereas the Jolted, an enemy can only be jolted once. Jolted doesn't stack. So I jolt an enemy and I have to wait for it to do an attack. It's not as fast as I push the button. Now, I might be wrong. It might be the case that 100 extra damage every time you... Crap, I took unnecessary damage. Every time you bolt an enemy is better than a smaller amount of damage every time I push the button and hit. But it's just my preference. And heck, maybe we'll get another Zeus boon. And we'll still pick up a jolting thing. Alright, we have a lot of choices. So we got gems here, darkness, and what is over here? A key? A key. Okay, so I want to talk about this. So gems are the resource that you run out of uses for the fastest. The thing is, it's very tempting to get these because what you get from them early on is significant. And so you might want to get them. I am personally just never going to take them. Whatever gems I'm forced to get, either just because it's the only option or because you get them from achievements a lot in this game, which we'll talk about later, it's going to be more than enough to get everything that we need with gems. They have a few mechanical uses early, and then they are just for cosmetics only. Now, darkness and keys is a very interesting dilemma because darkness matters for a long, long time. Again, many tens of runs before you run out of uses for darkness, whereas keys, you actually use up everything that you need keys for relatively early. However, I am actually going to choose the key, even though in the long term, that's not the choice that you would want, because the stuff that you get with keys is extremely significant, and despite the fact that it's not a long-term thing, I just want that stuff as soon as possible. What that is unlocking new sections of your mirror for darkness upgrades, some of which are extremely significant, and also unlocking new weapons. And the new weapons, it's not just for like fun and variety's sake. You might remember I mentioned that at the beginning of each run, a random one of your weapons has this like purplish glow on it. That's the Dark Thirst, and that gives bonus darkness by 20%. So if you use that weapon, all the darkness that you find is increased by 20%, which is great because if you decide to make that choice of I will always take that weapon, you're basically always getting 20% more darkness over the course of your run. So over the course of, many thousands of darkness that you collect, it matters quite a great deal. So, and also for the purpose of, variety, it's nice to have like a thing that randomizes your weapon for you. Shoot, I forgot where I was going with that. Oh yes, right. So that's why you want to unlock weapons. If you don't unlock... do I go to the shop? I'm actually feeling pretty confident. I want to go here. I don't have that much money, and it would be nice to upgrade something, especially if I could upgrade one of my damage-causing things. And it's a free one, which is great. So yeah, it is possible for the Dark Thirst to spawn on a weapon you haven't unlocked, so you are missing out on darkness by not unlocking all your weapons. And then again, there's also the bounties. Killing Meg with a new weapon gives you a Titan Blood, which right now there's nothing to do with it, but eventually it will matter quite a bit. Okay, let me think about this. Extra 10%, so it's like an extra expected 5 damage for my special. This isn't when I do this right before getting hit, I dash. I do 30 damage instead of 20, so that's a bigger percentage increase. But I am going to be firing the special more often, so I think we'll just stick with that. Okay, I hope I finished that thought about the keys and why I want the keys, because I was talking about that for a long time. Anyway, here's our second boss, the Bone Hydra. So, the Bone Hydra has a variety of effects. Each one, well, not each one, but they are often different. Oh god, they're often different. I try to get fancy deflecting. So, with the bow, you just stay back here, away from its little ground poundy things, and just keep shooting it with your weapon. I think actually I might be better off using my special. If I was good at getting the power shot, I might prefer to do that instead. Okay, so this is the variant that shoots those little purple missiles, and eventually it will go immune and spawn some extra heads. And then, as long as the extra heads are around, it is immune. Now that one spawned a little thing on the ground. You want to kill those. If you don't kill those, then they will pop out an enemy. Oh, this one is also that type. However, its spawn landed in the magma, which is fine. There's a third head over here. So we just go over here. So basically, you just stay away from the main head. You stay away from these heads too, and you shoot them and kill them at range. It's a little trickier with the sword, admittedly. Like, well, how are you supposed to do this with the sword? Oh god. Yeah, so this is one of those. Very intimidating, though not really that scary. Well, the thing about learning is, you can see he's spending a lot of time just sitting there not attacking. It's really just one of the great master strokes of this game, is how threatening the game feels, like you're constantly under pressure, despite the fact that technically the enemies spend a lot of time not attacking you. Okay, so now he hits the second phase where again he's invulnerable, and he again spawns some more heads. And this time it's even more heads than last time. So you have to go around and kill all these heads. The thing about this boss, like, if I had to... Oh, I missed a little spawny thing. If I had to, like, kill this boss without taking any damage, and the fate of the world depended on it, you know, gather your loved ones around and say goodbye. There is no way it's going to happen. There's just absolutely no way I'm ever going to do this without taking damage. Like, there's all this stuff happening. You're going to take damage. Or you, if you're like me. However, I feel like it's easier for me to actually beat this boss than to beat someone like Meg, because, I don't know, someone with Meg, for some reason, it just feels like it's harder to understand the patterns, or at least it took me more time to figure them out. And, like, just fundamentally getting in there and doing enough damage seems harder. Whereas this one, it's like, yeah, I'll keep taking trickle damage as I wander around among the hydras, but I know that the amount of trickle damage won't be as much as my full health total, as long as I'm not, like, close to dead to begin with. So yeah, you just stay back and keep shooting at him until he dies. Now, we're kind of in an awkward spot, because at this stage of the game, the amount of damage that I do relative to the health of the enemies in the third act is a very poor ratio. So I'm not super confident this is going to go well. Let's see, should we sell anything here? Nope. This one is the only one that's really worth an appreciable amount of money. Well, this is my core boon. This one, the deflecting is very good. And then healing, again, it's the 15% chance to drop items just for 3 encounters, which is really sad. I would honestly rather just pay to get healing. But that has not been on offer, so we'll take what we can. I still have my Death Defiance from Skelly. So in this particular case, I use the Death Defiance from the mirror. And the trinket that I got from Skelly hasn't actually done anything per se. So the case could be made that I would have been better off just giving my nectar to a different character and taking a more useful boon. Alright, so here we get to a very tough enemy for this stage of the game. These guys, when you kill them, we didn't actually see it for that first one, they spawn a little floaty head, and you have to kill this floaty head. If you don't, then after a while, it will regenerate into a full enemy, which when it takes as long to kill as these guys are taking, is just absolutely heartbreaking. Suffering and psychological torture is like taking forever to kill one of these guys and then having it respawn. Now, it seems that hitting it in some way resets the trigger for it to respawn, so the game was nice enough on that front, but still, it's very intimidating. So a new boon from Zeus or a palm to upgrade one of my existing ones. Alright, we'll take the new one. I might get that jolted one again, which, you know, would be a way to add on to my damage. But actually, it's interesting to note that jolting doesn't do anything to those eyeballs because they don't attack. They just float, hoping you don't kill them. Alright, so these guys are a little different. There's several varieties of these respawning enemies. The bows are the ones where you see a targeting reticule on your body, and after a while they shoot at you. Those big purple balls are coming from the witches again, but as before, although it's the same enemy as from Act 1, they get stronger. They have more health, I think, and then their projectile is harder to deal with. Okay, so we got the Jolted here. I like this one a lot because getting hit is something I do often, but we'll take this one, I think, because I just can't take that much more damage. So I think the amount of damage I'll be able to do with the Jolts is higher than the health that I have left to damage enemies with by hitting them. All right, so we have a choice here. I cannot get the boon and the food. I'm going to get the food because I think it's going to make a bigger difference. Oh, here's Charon, the shopkeeper. Let's talk to him. And I think I'll buy a power-up because I might as well get anything I possibly can to help. All right, so 7% extra to strike twice or just increase. Oh, God, this is math. I mean, I don't know. We'll just take that one. That seems more direct, but I am not confident at all. We'll take another Zeus. This game is just offering me a lot of Zeus this run for some reason. So, just not super confident that if I took the coins that I would be able to use them in time. It's worth noting that, by the way, you do get coins, not just from the room rewards, but also enemies, when they die, give you coins. I don't actually know the mechanics on that. I don't know if it's every enemy gives you coins when it dies, or it's a percentage chance. That was a big hit from the projectile. Their projectiles, by the way, it's like a big ball that explodes into little balls. Just make sure you always kill those. Oh, hey, that's it. Cool. Oh, I get the epic version, which does a whole 15 extra damage. Man, I kind of like this. Lightning bolt, deal damage in a larger area. Yeah, I just don't use my attack very often. So we'll go for that. We have to face a mini-boss now. Poseidon or Dionysus? I think I'm going to go with Dionysus because he has that one that can give me a nectar. And, oh God, this is a nightmare. All right, so what this boss is it's this big butterfly ball that, in addition to spawning these butterflies that tickle you, it constantly spawns the regenerating heads. And so you have to try to kill the heads and also kill it, and it has a ton of health. So what I'm going to do is take a rather suicidal sounding approach, which is I'm basically going to ignore the heads for the most part. I mean, maybe I'll damage them with my special if it's convenient. And then I'm just going to have a big fight with a bunch of these enemies at the end of it all. The reason for that is I just don't do enough damage that if I'm running around chasing heads... Okay, that was a misplay there. Once you kill the butterfly ball, your top priority should be to get any heads. And I could have gotten that one if I had been quicker about it. Okay, well here is my Death Defied from Skelly. So... it may or may not be relevant. I don't think I do enough damage and that I'm skilled enough to actually kill the boss of this act. It's good to get more encounters in because it levels up the trinket more and I might get like more darkness and keys. So it's, it's good to survive longer. This is a duo. A duo boon is one that it's kind of like I think it's a legendary difficulty, so they're rare to spawn. And you get it if you have two specific gods. So this is a boon that can only spawn if you have Dionysus and Zeus. Eventually, there will be an achievement for getting all of the duo boons. It's difficult to do and it takes a long time, but even though it's not evident now, I'm going to pick this, even though I don't value it, just because it will retroactively count. So the game does retroactively count if you have taken certain boons before that achievement becomes available or visible to you. Okay, so now... that thing will just keep taking lightning damage for standing in my festival fog. It's another variation of the regenerating people. These guys have shields, so if you hit them from the front, they actually block your attack. It seems like I'm still doing lightning damage to them, but basically what you have to do is you need to dash past them, and when they turn around, you dash past them again. They're very slow. I would say that enemy is more annoying than tough, but that is not necessarily to underestimate it, because they do have like a ranged attack and also a charge attack that can cause problems. Hey, that duo boon has actually been pretty good. It's really doing wonders against that butterfly ball. And that guy as well. Actually, I'm shocked by how quick that was. This has not been as torturous as I was expecting. Okay, so we got the jolting. I think I'm just going to improve my strike chance. It's minor at this point, but it's damage. And again, we have a choice between darkness and key. I will take the key. I always take the key in the early game. Note also there's a difference. This darkness is in a mini-boss room, whereas this key isn't. Now, the mini-boss room in the third act is actually pretty smart to take, because one of the mini-bosses is that butterfly ball, which is just an absolute nightmare. But the other one is the Minotaur, as in from the Legend of Theseus and the Minotaur. Theseus and the Minotaur are... Oh my god, I missed the regenerating one. They are the boss of this act. And if you get the Minotaur by himself as the mini-boss, it's kind of like the boss fight, except easier, because it's just the Minotaur and not the Minotaur and Theseus. But in addition to that, after you win that fight, it means that the bull is damaged going into the actual boss fight. Like, because you beat him up a little bit, so he's going to start a little bit hurt, which is nice. Plus, the bull has really cool dialogue.
Key to a weapon.
Okay, is there anything in here? We have key or... Oh, it's flip. So now it's again key or darkness. This time the key is the mini-boss. There's a decent chance I'm going to die here. 40 is not much health. I'm not that good at this fight. And it's not that. It's not the Minotaur. Okay, so it's a mini-boss room, which means if I survive this, I will get 2 keys rather than 1. And that is a really good prize. I would really like to survive this. I do have my dash deflect, which I'm a little nervous about using. Just because these balls are so big. There's some traps there I almost got hit by. I really should have launched my Festive Fog, because that is a pretty strong effect. It does quite a bit of lightning damage quite frequently. I just need to be careful, because if I kill one of those guys in the fog, and then the head spawns outside of it, I might think it's taken care of, but then it'll just respawn. Okay, phew, I got there. So that's 2 keys. Notice it's 2, because it was a mini-boss room. It had that skull symbol. Generally speaking, when you get a reward from a mini-boss room, it is... I could sell this. It's not that great against the boss, and I could spend it in the shop. No, I'm not going to do that. In general, if you kill a mini-boss, the reward is better. So, like, the hearts will give 50 instead of 25. Coins will give more coins. Keys and darkness give more darkness. And the boons, which is not obvious. I played this game for many, many, many runs without ever knowing this. The boons are, like, have an increased rarity. Okay, so what do we buy here? I think definitely the food. And, oh, I still do have my Death Defiance from Skelly. Oh, I actually, sorry, it's going to take a while. This might be a way to actually beat the third boss. So I can choose one of these, but not both. I have so many Zeus boons. I think at this point, I'm just better off taking this. Unless, of course, I think that the game is more likely to give me a duo boon, like with Zeus and Athena. All right, I'll do it. I just don't think a palm at this point is going to make that much of a difference, because the value for leveling up the same boon over and over does diminish over time. So we'll take this. If it's useless, then so be it. Aha! We got a legendary one. When you strike foes with lightning boons, fire an electric bolt. That's cool. Alright, well, I'll take it, because there's an achievement for getting all the legendary ones. Again, it's not evident now. I should clarify, by the way, there's 2 different kinds of achievements. There's, like, Steam achievements, which you get once per account, like for any Steam game. And then there's the Fated List of Minor Prophecies, which are achievements that are local to each save file. So each time you start a new save file in Hades, you work through all those achievements again. I will be using the word achievements to refer to the prophecies, not to the account-wide achievements, because the prophecies actually give you reward for fulfilling them, so those are the achievements that I care about. Anyway, here is Theseus and the Minotaur. This is a fight that, honestly, I thought I was never going to beat, and then some random person on Reddit and some random thread that I wasn't even searching for did a write-up of how to do this fight, and it was better than any other guide I'd ever read. Like, I'd searched for guides trying to understand this, and I still just, like, couldn't get through it. So thank you, random Reddit person. I really wish I had saved that post so I could give you proper credit. So the bull does slow, swinging attacks, and every once in a while he charges at you. Theseus also has some melee attacks, but for the most part, what he does is, okay, wow, that was good, is he throws a spear at you, and you can see when he does it, there will be a targeting reticule. So the key thing is you can hide behind these pillars to dodge that spear. And that is easier than just trying to, like, dodge it manually. You might think, well, what's the big deal, Boris? Just keep running and dodge. But the problem is that while you're killing the bull, it's difficult to also pay attention to that damn spear. Generally speaking, for reasons I will explain later, you want to kill the bull first. That's not a hard rule, and there may be cases where it's just convenient to kill Theseus. In fact, I need to drop my Festive Fog to get this damage going. But for the most part... Oh god, he's charging at me. Okay, I got hit by the charge. The way that you want to deal with the charge, and this is difficult, you'll see me struggling to do it as I did there, is you want to basically get in front of a pillar and charge through it. This was a key insight. You can charge through these pillars. So this is a really helpful thing for attacking Theseus later, if I actually do well enough, if I can manage to kill the bull. And then I'll talk about how to fight Theseus. If not, we'll just talk about that at a later time. So yeah, charging through the pillars is good for fighting Theseus, and it also gives you a way to dodge the charge attack of the bull. Now in that case, the bull actually just like ran into a pillar himself. I didn't actually do anything. Now the bull just went invulnerable for a brief moment, and when he comes back, he's mostly the same except that jumping charge attack that he does. Does radiating AoE damage. And I don't know if he does more damage in general or attacks more often. It's not a huge change. There we go. Like that time, I charged through a pillar, which made him charge into the pillar and end his charge. And I did it again, although his AoE thing got me that time. Now, one thing I noticed is the game did tell me that my trinket had leveled up. Skelly's trinket, when you level it up once... Oh god, I actually damaged Theseus to half health. Okay, well, this is why you kill the bull before you kill Theseus, folks. The reason you do it is that when he gets to half health, he doesn't just get like a minor change to his attack set. Oh, I came back with 75 health. So the fact that I leveled up the trinket during run actually mattered. I have 25 more health now because of it. Theseus, after going invulnerable for a brief period, his moveset doesn't change, but he calls upon a god for assistance. So now, for the rest of the fight, you have to deal with the god's blessing. Now, I got super lucky, and he rolled Artemis. Artemis is the easiest one of all the gods to deal with, because all she does is, it's very repetitive. Oh, I got hit by the spear. She does that string of circles, and it's very predictable. It's always in the exact same place. You can see it coming and get out of the way. Oh my god, I got hit by the spear again. Well, now that I made it this far, I'm going to be really depressed if I end up dying. Okay, that was a charge attack. So yeah, all the other gods are, like, they're not necessarily more unpredictable, but they are harder to dodge. Okay, so now the bull is dead. So the way that you want to do this, until you get really strong, is stay away from him so you don't get hit by his melee attack. Wait for him to start targeting you with his spear. Hide behind a pillar. After he shoots the spear, he slowly walks away from you for a little while. So what you do is you charge through the pillar, get behind him, and then hit him while he's walking away from you. Otherwise, he has a shield, and this is the reason I would just die over and over. I think, honestly, most people, when you get to this boss for the first time, you're going to just die and have no idea what the hell happened. Because when you come up to Theseus and you just attack him, he blocks all of your attacks with his shield. He just blocks every single thing. And if you get behind him, you can do damage. There are ways that you can kill him, other than through the hide behind a pillar and dash out method. But the fairest way to kill him, the most reliable, is you hide behind a spear, wait for him to throw it, you dash through the pillar, and then you can get up to him fast enough that you can actually do some damage to him. Okay, well, I think at this point I'm pretty good and screwed. I actually could consider selling this because I don't think there's any chance I can actually beat Hades. I have no Death Defiance, and Hades is a really difficult boss. He's the final boss of the game. So this would allow me to get more boons to make it easier for me to get to Hades, but no, we'll just keep it. It's fine. I mean, yeah, because like I said, if I use that boon to get more boons to make it to Hades, I guess I would just not have those extra electric bolts in the final fight. I don't know, maybe that would have been smart to sell. Okay, so we're at the River Styx, and here the guard is Cerberus, our beloved pup. Now, you don't actually have to fight him. The way it works is that you have to go find a satyr sack, which is a sack full of nastiness, and feed it to the dog so he walks away. Then you fight the actual boss, which is Hades. Now down here, there's always a shop. There's always a hammer for sale, which we'll talk about later. We don't have the hammers unlocked yet. That's just something the game unlocks for you at a certain run. You can buy a Titan Blood or a Diamond for 1,200 coins for the Titan Blood, 1,000 coins for the Diamond, so this speeds up your meta progression. Of course, you have to have a lot of gold saved up, and you have to use it not buying all these other delectable things, so it's kind of a flex move. And then there will always be 4 other things for sale. 2 things that are kind of like a normal rarity, and 2 things that are higher rarity. These 300 coin palms level something up twice rather than just once. You can get boons here as well, which will cost 450, and if you get boons here, they will have a higher rarity than the ones here that cost 150. Now, the way it works is that these tunnels, there's 5, one of them is hiding a satyr sack. It's never the first one. Half the time it's the second one, and you'll usually get it by the third one, although sometimes you can get very unlucky and have to go through 4 or 5 of these tunnels to get the sack. There are 2 that have that mini boss symbol, and I'm actually going to pick one of those on purpose because I think that those are actually easier than the ones that are not mini bosses. So the first tunnel is never going to have a satyr sack in it, which means that if you pick one of these, you are guaranteed to get one of the boss fights, which is easier and also gives a double reward, or in the case of a boon, a higher rarity reward. Now, you don't fight that right away. So first, oh god, there's lots to talk about here. I'm taking poison damage. So first you have to go through all these like little mini rooms. These are satyrs. They shoot extremely fast moving poison darts. They poison you. They're not the only thing that poison you. There's other enemies that can poison you as well. And if you get poisoned, you'll just take a damage over and over till the fight ends. You need to go up to this well and press the activate button to cure yourself. So it's a good idea to familiarize yourself. Oh god, I gotta get out of there. To familiarize yourself with the location of the cure wells, just like the exits on an airplane, so that you know where to dash to if you get poisoned. So you fight through a number of these little mini rooms. Here are rats. They don't do much damage, but they're hard to spot, and they run at you and they bite you and then they die. The rat rooms aren't that bad. You are going to take some damage probably from the rats unless you're very good, but it's not much, and then it's over. These big rats, they burrow in the ground, causing poison to appear on the floor, and if you walk over that, you get poisoned. They can also whack you for pretty good damage. Luckily, these guys just sat there while I shot repeatedly with the bow. That's my favorite thing, is sitting in one place, pushing a button over and over. Alright, so there's a variety of different bosses you can get. This is honestly one of the better ones. What it does is it just spawns a bunch of traps, and you have some leeway, some ample advance notice that it's about to fall before it falls, so just dash out of there. The longer it takes you to kill the boss, the more other enemies spawn. We got one of those beamers over there. There'll usually be traps, but yeah, once you kill all the supplementary enemies and the boss, then it ends. And honestly, that's better, I think, than the regular rooms. So here we have a boon, and notice when I open it, it's going to have higher rarity. These are all rare. That is not random. That is because this was a mini boss room. Okay, this is actually pretty good. Okay, I should have mentioned this is the reason why I picked Athena instead of Artemis for the boss lane, is because Athena has this thing that gives you back a death defiance, which is very good because now I can respawn once and come back with 75 health. Now, do I want to go Artemis or do I want to get health? There's a 50% chance that after this I will find the Satyr Sack and go fight the final boss. I think that 25 health is probably going to make a bigger difference than an extra rare Artemis boon. The question is, what are the odds I'm actually going to beat Hades? I think... Okay, you know what? I'm just going to, on principle, make the choice that maximizes my odds of beating the final boss. But probably the correct choice was to take that Artemis boon and hope I get like a duo boon or a legendary boon or something that, you know, gives me progress towards the achievements. Okay, so when you fight those little cylindrical things, just keep an eye on the ground. If it turns red, dash out of there. Otherwise, those aren't too bad. You can pretty easily not take any damage from them. The only damage they do is from launching those traps. Now, these are my least favorite. Okay, Cure, the satyrs. The tunnels are named after them. And they are a problem. That poison is no joke. I would actually like... one thing to note, too, is that you can buy replenishments of Death Defiance in the little well shops, those blue shops that you can buy things in. If you have lost the Death Defiance, one of the things that you can roll is replenish one Death Defiance. Unfortunately, it costs 200 gold, so I can't afford that. If I had maybe not passed every single gold room, I would be able to have bought it. Now, the fact that I'm having a fight in a big open space means that this is not the Satyr Sack. So I am going to have to now go through another tunnel searching for it. There is a shop here, which is nice. I will not be able to afford a Death Defiance, but I might be able to afford something that, you know, helps me make it through more of the rooms, or just hopefully buy some raw health. So watch those floor panels. They make a lot of blades drop, which hurts enemies. But if you're like me, it also hurts you, because then you proceed to stand in those clearly marked spots where the blades are going to drop. Okay, so there's 25 health, healing, and additional to max health. Don't forget the shop. Oh god, almost forgot the shop. Yep, there it is. If I had 105 more gold, I could get another Death Defiance. As it is, this is awful. All right, so the special doing more damage is not relevant, because remember, it only deals 10 damage, so it's like 4 damage. Most of my damage is coming from the bolts. All right, well, now I don't really want gold or palms. I mean, I guess I could get the gold and then hope to find another Death Defiance in a shop. Maybe that actually would have made sense. But as it is, we are just going to go down here and get a rare Artemis boon. Yeah, it seems like I kind of want all of those, so we'll pass. Actually, I really would like to make it to Hades. I just realized this. There is a value to having reached Hades, which, if we get there, we'll talk about. So that's why I actually would really like, now that I realized this, like I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to beat Hades. There's just no way I'm going to beat Hades, so I don't really care if I make it through these tunnels. I actually really want to make it through these tunnels and not take 20 damage from a easily spotted, predictable saw blade coming slowly at me, because there are consequences to reaching Hades once, and I want to reach him even if I'm going to die to him. Okay, this was a really good room because the rats can't cross the chasm, and with the bow, you can just stand there and shoot at them till they die. Please give me the Satyr Sack. Please? It is. Oh, thank God. Okay, so what happens when you get to the tunnel with the Satyr Sack is you don't have to do any fighting. You just get the sack. You get your reward, which in this case is going to be a rare boon because it was a mini-boss. Notice they're all rare. So I can change this. This is not good because this notice it swaps. You can only have one boon affecting directly a cast, special, or attack, special, or cast. Notice that those two arrows in the name, that implies that if you take this, it will get rid of the other one. But my other one is currently upgraded by a duo boon, causing the lightning bolts to fall, you know, to hit enemies in the area. So I don't want to lose it. This is not that big of a deal. I'm going to take this. This is actually a lot better than it looks. What this does is it makes any damage that you deal have a 3% chance of doing a lot of bonus damage. So that includes every one of my special arrows, and then also all the lightning bolts that those generate. Everything. Now, you actually can continue going through more tunnels for rewards. This is if you think you're going to struggle with the Hades boss fight, because it is a very difficult fight, or you're just a completionist, but maybe you're like generally strong but going to struggle with the fight, then it makes sense to go through the tunnels, maybe buy something from a shop you find there, get more rewards, get more gold, you know, buy more of this stuff. As it is, though, I'm going to go meet Hades because I really, really want to have it triggered that I reached him. Okay. None of these, unfortunately, are the main things I want to deal with, so we'll just make our bolts hit in a slightly wider area. I don't think it's going to matter one way or the other. You go talk to Cerberus, you give him the Satyr Sack. And then the world's best boy lumbers off. Alright, so I gotta remember that I reached Hades, which will be relevant for some meta progression later on. The other thing is that after you reach Hades, you also can get boons from the goddess Demeter. She doesn't appear until you have reached Hades once. Not necessarily killed, just reached. Alright, so Hades does a variety of things. Mainly, he charges at you and does a whirling spear attack. That one. It's really hard to dodge. The thing is, what's tricky, and I don't know if the developers did this on purpose to be jerks, is that it shows this white circle before he does the spin attack, but he actually leaps forward before he does it. So the actual area is not the white circle that initially appears to telegraph the attack. These things, if you don't kill them, they explode in a slowly radiating nova of damage. Oh, that was 30 damage for no reason. So you either want to kill them or at least be aware that they exist and prepare to dash through it. Okay, so at about a third of his health gone, he goes immune for a little bit, and then he spawns some enemies. The enemies, the spawns vary. It can be anything. We got actually one from Act 2 and one from Act 3. The Act 3 one is the respawny type. So I gotta kill that head. Hades also lunges at you. When he shoots those orbs, if they hit you, they cause boiling blood, which makes you take more damage from his attacks and also hurts you. So you gotta dodge farther away than you think to not get hit by his attack. Okay. So you can also, if you dash at just the right time, you can actually dodge it. All right. So at another third of HP gone, he goes invincible again for a short bit, and then summons some more help. Again, it's random. I don't know, actually, like, he spawned the exact same 2 enemies as last time. Maybe it's just always the second time, whatever it is the first time. I've never really thought about it. So that time, I was definitely in the radius, but because I dodged at just the right moment, it was a near miss. Okay, now I died. Don't get too excited, though. There is a second phase. When you get him down to 0... he goes invincible for a bit, recharges all the way to full, and then has like a new move set, and you have to kill him all over again. So it may have looked like I was super close to winning the game, but I am not depressed at all because there was no way I was ever going to make it through the whole second phase. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and or subscribe. If you are interested in the post-game, meta currency, whatever stuff, then stick around. I will always be doing that at the end of the video. If you're not interested in that, just close it, and in the next video, we'll just pick up a weapon and go. Okay, so between runs, you always want to talk to everybody that has an exclamation mark over their head, because everybody has like a pool of different conversations, and when you talk to them, it uses up a bit of conversation from the pool. For some characters, it is useful to get as many of those conversations out as possible, because you're going to want them to say certain things to move certain story things along, and if those things aren't prioritized, they'll just not say them at random until you've gotten a lot of other conversations out of their pool. So here we have the house contractor. What this does is it gives you the opportunity to add decorations to Hades in exchange for gems, which I currently don't have any of because I just purposefully didn't take them. However, there are some things in the work order section that are not cosmetic. Everything else is cosmetic, but there are some things in the work order section that actually make a difference. So this is actually a really strong one. What it does is it makes it so that in the first act, you may find a chamber that just has a fountain in it and the reward for the chamber, but no enemies. And it counts as a chamber. So that's really cool. You get a little bit of free healing sometimes and have to do one less encounter. Now, we also have available several of these things now. And of these things, the most important by far is this one, the Fated List of Minor Prophecies. This is what unlocks the achievements that you can complete for various rewards. This is also pretty good. What this allows you to do is switch keepsakes between acts. So like after killing Meg, before you go and fight Lernie, you can switch your keepsake. Like at the moment I only have one keepsake because I've only ever found one nectar. So I only have one keepsake, so it doesn't do anything now. But eventually it is really helpful. As you'll see, there are some keepsakes that, you know, you only want to have equipped for one act, let's say. So being able to switch it out and get another bonus is very significant. This one is actually also pretty good. It lets you find pots that drop coins. They will be gold, unlike the other gray pots, and they will sparkle. If you forget to destroy them, you don't get the gold, but you still don't need to go around destroying all the pots you see. It's just that if you see one of these, which is visually distinctive, you blow it up and you get extra coins. So it's a subtle power difference because it adds more gold to your runs. And then this one is the one I'm actually, the least interested in, the Lesser Plunder. It adds these infernal troves to some rooms, and what it does is, if you activate it, you get a whole bunch of enemies, and you kill them, and the faster you kill them, the bigger the reward. So I'm not super interested in that, I just want to make it through the game, but eventually we're going to get all of these. So that's a lot. It's 50, 60, 70 gems, and more things will unlock as well. So again, it can be very tempting to just get gems on purpose all the time, but I personally prefer to not take gems because they run out of use so quickly. One thing is maybe it is worth getting 20 gems though. I am now thinking about this. I forgot this thing costs 20 because that's actually kind of a lot. It is worth it to get that because that unlocks achievements, and then completing achievements gives you a lot of gems sometimes. The Fated List of Minor Prophecies will be right here. Okay, we have 149 darkness. And we have 5 keys. So I could unlock the next section of the mirror. However, I think that would be a little bit rash. Let me see what has Dark Thirst here. Okay, some conversation. Oh, yeah. So it's the spear that's glowing. So I am going to unlock the spear, which is a weapon I really like. And we'll talk about it at the beginning of the next video. But that means I don't have enough keys to unlock the next section of darkness. However, I'm not going to hoard my darkness. I will spend it. So you can save up to 500 to get an extra Death Defiance, which is really good. But I think much more significant is this. Just for 50 darkness, you can now dash twice instead of once. And that makes it a lot easier, for example, to dodge Hades' spear attack. Being able to dodge twice when you see that white circle appear makes a huge difference. And in general, it's not just for the final boss. It's really good to have a second dash. I could, of course, save my darkness and try to save up for this Death Defiance or for the things in the next section, which are pretty good. However, I'm just going to spend it. So this makes it so that when you hit an enemy from the back with an attack or special, not from things generally, you deal more damage. So now we have 20% damage, 30%. Aha, so it does look like it goes all the way up to 50. Okay, so at max out, you deal 50% extra damage when backstabbing, which is pretty significant. And if you're like me, you might think, well, but hang on, I suck at this game. Am I really going to be backstabbing enemies? Well, the thing is, you're just running around like a crazy person, smashing left and right, pushing buttons, hoping you don't die. Some of those hits will be backstabs, and that's 50% extra damage per hit, which is a really big deal. Okay, so we'll talk about the spear next time, which means for now, I am signing off. Take care, everybody.